Hi, and welcome to another episode of You're a Survivor, Now What? Today we're joined by George from Everything Natural 2, and George is going to speak to us today about age-related fatigue, which I know if you've gone through chemotherapy, or even if you're over 30 or 40, and suddenly you're trying to do things and you find yourself slowing down a little bit. Maybe you need that little catnap in the afternoon. Well, George is going to help us and show us how we can get through that and give us a little more energy and get through the day a little bit easier. All right. So what do you have for us today, George?
Well, Maddie, today we're discussing age-related fatigue and how we can boot up our cells to be more responsive at manufacturing energy from the oxygen we breathe in and the food we take in. I want to let all our listening audience know out there that our cells produce two types of energy. There's chemical energy and electrical energy. And we want to influence both pathways. Now, what is chemical energy? It's the energy conversion from oxygen from our respiration, and also the conversion of glucose from our carbohydrates and triglycerides from our fats into energy at the cell level. The mitochondria converts these ingredients into a substance known as ATP, which is the adenosine triphosphate we learned about in junior high. But what we're trying to do is improve the way the cells make energy from oxygen, glucose, and fatty acid metabolism. And electrical energy, which we'll talk to in the second half of this podcast. Okay. So number one of our favorite supplements to use for age-related fatigue is the NT Factor. It's basically the best way we can describe this. It's a membrane-matching lipid. It's the structure of the cell membrane. It's the structure of the mitochondria membrane. It's a good example is if we wanted to insulate our house in the wintertime. Okay. And we had good insulation and good seals on our windows, so the furnace, which is creating the heat, wouldn't let the heat escape through the walls. Okay. And basically the NT Factor puts a good structure on the cells, right, so that they can manufacture energy efficiently from respiration and digestion.
It's kind of like putting new windows in your house, right?
Just like putting new windows in your house and keeping the heat from escaping on a cold winter's day. So NT Factor comes either in our supplement that you're familiar with, Matt, known as Propax, right? And which also functions as a multivitamin, multimineral, and it's also sold as a supplement known as Healthy Aging. Okay. So adding good structure to the cell and the mitochondria membrane, very important in alleviating fatigue. The second component that we want to talk about is a supplement known as coenzyme Q10. That basically lives within the cell membranes, and it's responsible for dragging oxygen down to the mitochondria, which is very, very important for giving us the endurance and stamina we need, especially as we get into our 30s and 40s and 50s and so on. Right. Very, very important. We like to use a form of CoQ10 known as ubiquinol, and it comes with an ingredient known as PQQ. And PQQ is a supplement that was brought to the market by Life Extension out of Florida that improves the population of mitochondria in muscle, nerve, and organ cells. So by improving these little organelles or power plants, we have the potential to make more energy from our breathing as well as our diet. Okay. Very, very important. The third component to this is the amino acid N-acetylcysteine, which is the catalyst to developing the ladders of electrons that go from our cell membrane to the mitochondria, necessary for CoQ10 to drag oxygen down to create this energy known as ATP. So you can see we have cell membrane structure. Right. We have improved population of mitochondria pools in muscle, nerve, and organ cells. We have a supplement that develops the ability to get more oxygen to these mitochondria. Very, very important in age-related fatigue protocols. The fourth supplement that we love working with is an amino.
Right. 1 second, Jordan. I think how people might be able to relate to this. You mentioned the oxygen, getting enough oxygen to the cells. I think if people realize, sometimes if there's not a lot of fresh air, like in your office building and stuff, you start to feel a little bit tired and sluggish.
Oh, no doubt.
That's probably a good way for people to understand what we're trying to do. We're trying to get that fresh oxygen in, so that the fresh oxygen will pump through the blood, and that fresh oxygen is what's going to give you that energy, rather than...
Great analogy. I mean, the cell conditions that we're dealing with after age 30, and when we look at our clientele base that are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and so on, that oxygen environment dries up. So we really want to help repair the cell membrane, get the coenzyme Q10 saturated within the cell membrane, give it the ladders it needs of electrons to get the oxygen to the mitochondria, and then finally improve mitochondria populations, which starts to decline from our early 30s on. So wonderful approach. It can help anybody out, whether you're an endurance athlete or someone who just wants to have more endurance and stamina to run around with grandkids, or get to the gym for a nice workout.
Right.
It's a really, really logical approach. It's physics, and it's tough to argue with physics, Maddie.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Angles and percentages.
Yes, that's true.
Yes.
One of the final components to this protocol is an amino acid known as acetyl L-carnitine arginate.
Okay.
And this is a product that helps drive triglycerides through the cell membrane to the mitochondria, just making better use of fats, which is very, very good. It gives you a lot of late life in the end of a workout. And one of its key characteristics is it elevates the chemicals in our brain, known as acetylcholine and dopamine, which puts you in a good mood, number one.
Right.
And it helps you with your reflexes, but your mental clarity and focus. You're really on for the day, and this is something we like our customers to start the day with.
Great.
Typically, the routine that we just talked about is a series of 4 supplements that's built to take before breakfast and dinner. Very simple to add to their routine.
So it's twice a day?
It's twice a day on each one of the supplements.
Right.
And a few minutes before breakfast and basically a few minutes before dinner is the ideal time to take these supplements.
Okay.
One more item that we want to discuss today deals with the flows of energy known as electrical energy.
Okay.
And that's the Trace Minerals Research Concentrates.
That's the little blue bottle.
That's the little blue bottle we talked about. And these are ionic trace minerals that work on pH levels in our body cells, fluids. It's known as the cytoplasm. But the concentrates is dealing with pH, which stands for potential hydrogen. What we're looking at doing is getting hydrogen ions out of the cell to allow for oxygen to get utilized more correctly. That's in a sense alkalizing the body.
Okay.
So I love using the trace minerals because it makes up for flaws or mistakes we might make during the day, such as a fast food meal or a glass of soda, which is very acidic, a cup of coffee. These are very acidic ingredients. Our mineral drops can help restore that nice pH, change that charge distribution between outside the cell membrane and inside the cell to get the acids out, so that the very breath of air you're breathing right now can be converted into energy more efficiently. So that's chemical energy and electrical energy in a nutshell. We wrap that around a good plant-based whole food diet. Try to keep it organic with good food combining. The next thing you know, people are looking forward to being active. They're looking forward to having their, dialing up their exercise intensity. They're looking forward to taking that vacation or that trip they wanted to take.
Sure.
Their body just wants to stay in motion. But the best of all, we're doing this without caffeine. When it's time to relax in the evening, your body turns it off, and the cells are just working in much better balance with one another.
Right.
And those are the points we want to make for our listening audience today.
Great. I think one other thing that we could touch on with this would be now that everybody's gotten themselves into the being able to exercise, not lose the energy, go on vacation and so forth. I think another area to touch on would be how can we remember all these good workouts, these good vacations, and all the stuff that we're feeling good. How do we work on that? Because I think that was hand in hand with that.
Well, they got to tune in to the next podcast, because the next podcast we're going to be doing is going to be on cognitive health and memory issues, and just teach our population ways and preventative tactics to prevent some of the problems that plague our senior population today, as it plays out with dementia and Alzheimer's. Great.
Looking forward to that. That should be very interesting. Okay. Thanks, George. Once again, some great information. And now, if anybody wants to get in touch with you, I know they can. There's a link on my website, cancerpatientgiftstore.com. But I know they can get in touch with you through email or through the telephone. And if they go through my website, they'll get a coupon code that they'll be able to tell you, and they'll get a 30-minute consultation free. But how would we get in touch with you, George?
Our listening audience can email me at george@everythingnatural2.com. Everything Natural 2 is spelled with a T-O-O. Or they can contact me at the shop. Our phone number is 609-655-1666. Our shop's hours are 9:30 to 6:30 Monday through Friday, 10 to 4 on Saturday. And looking forward to hearing from our folks.
Great. Thanks, George.
Yep. Thank you, Matt.